Okay, there we go. Technical difficulties. I'm a minute late. Good morning. My name is Laura Parker. I am a local Montgomery artist, and I'm very excited to be here this morning. I have never done an Instagram live, so I have done live streaming of my art before, but I have never done an Instagram live, so there was a little bit of a learning curve. But this morning I am going to do a little gold leaf demo on a piece that I did earlier this week. I'm also going to be talking about my journey as an artist, I guess, and showing off some of my work. So if you have any questions as I'm going, just feel free to ask them. Gold leaf is a little bit finicky, so there will be moments where I will have my head down and fighting with gold leaf. I also can't talk when I'm actually laying the gold leaf because it is very, very thin, and if I breathe, it will be everywhere. So I'm going to start out. You are precariously perched on my computer right now. I'm going to start out by laying the adhesive because it has to sit, and then I'll talk about like myself and my art and stuff, but it has to sit and dry a little bit. Otherwise the gold leaf won't adhere to it properly. It's kind of like putting eyelashes on. If you've ever put fake eyelashes on, you have to like lay the glue and let it dry and get tacky and then put it on your eyes. So that's what we're gonna do to start. It's very smelly. I'm also very nervous, so we'll see how this goes. I hope you all are having a good morning. And once I'm actually laying the gold leaf, I will move you closer so you can see better, but this part's not very exciting. It just has to be done right before I lay the gold leaf. If you let it sit too long, then it's not sticky anymore, and then you can't lay the gold leaf. All right. So as I said, my name is Laura Parker. I was born and raised in Montgomery. I feel like I have the story of most artists. I've been drawing and coloring and interested in art all my life. I always loved portraits. I loved drawing people's faces. So that is what I focused on mostly in college. I did go to AUM. I have a bachelor's in fine arts with an emphasis in painting and drawing. So my senior show was a whole lot of portraits. I find human faces very interesting. All the different things that really make up someone's individual features. So scars and moles and freckles and all of that they tell a story. I find them interesting capturing that. So sorry, someone tried to call me in the middle. Sorry about that. Should have put it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know who it was. It was someone from Kentucky. Probably junk. Yes, I did a lot of portraits in college and growing up. And then once I graduated, I was a little burnt out from painting portraits all the time. I had a huge push to paint and draw a lot of portraits right at the end of my senior year. So I didn't feel like painting with oils anymore. Did not feel like painting portraits. So I started dabbling with other things, landscapes and general nature. The other thing with this glue is laying it down evenly so that we don't get any spots that are drying faster than other areas. There's a whole lot of tiny little details in this piece that I'm probably not going to worry about the gold leaf until later. Because it will be a time-consuming, very delicate process. We're almost there. I will show you a piece that I've already done in this very similar style with gold leaf. Recently, I've been painting a lot of mushrooms. They're fun, they're interesting. I had a child in 2020, my first child, and that put a big hold on art. So getting back into it, it's been nice to draw just very organic shapes. Not a lot of pressure. All right. So I'm gonna let this adhesive dry. And talk and show some of my art, and the screen went dark. Pay no mind to the screaming child in the background. He's supposed to be going down for a nap, and it doesn't sound like he wants to go down for a nap. All right, so while you are up there and while this is drying, I'm going to show you some of the work that I did in college. So again, I did portraits. I did portraits both in oil paint and a lot of ink work as well. Let me roll back and expose my attire. This was one of the oil paintings that I did. This is Angelica, someone that I knew from Leo. I know. This is Angelica, one of my friends from high school and dance, so I used her as a subject. This is one of the oil paintings. Another one you can kind of see up there on the wall is Matt. I also painted him. Matt, who is currently running back and forth, trying to quiet Leo. This is one of the ink pieces I did. I used to work very, very large scale, but this is one of the ink pieces that I did. All of this is ballpoint pen. These are not special pens. It was a $1 pack from the Dollar Tree. All of this inked in area was hand inked in with ballpoint pens. So there's a lot of, not a lot of blood, but a lot of tears and sweat that went into this piece. After I graduated, I started working a little bit smaller. Like I said, I dropped oil painting. I did a very large painting of the Nashville skyline for a friend. It was a nightscape. I spent over 100 hours on that painting, and I think it broke me. And after that, I was done with oil paints. Partially for practical reasons and partially for emotional reasons. So I picked up watercolors, and I continued doing portraits. So I was learning watercolors and still doing some portraits. During this time, after I graduated, I started live streaming my art on Twitch, which is a live streaming website like YouTube. That glue's almost done. Which was a very interesting experience. I made friends literally all over the world. I started being able to sell my art literally all over the world. One of my very best clients is someone from Norway who is now one of my dear, dear friends. So it was a very interesting experience and a fun way to get my art out into the world. I still do it some, but it is a little bit more difficult to stream with a child. With real art mom life, it's true. He's wailing in the background. I have to kind of keep an eye on that. So yes, I started live streaming. I started using watercolors instead of oil paints, and I stayed in portraits for a while. And then I picked up markers. So this is a portrait of Gandalf, obviously, that I did for Matt. All of this is in marker. So that was a fun little time frame where I was experimenting with different mediums and trying to just find what I really, really liked and enjoyed. So yes, we have Gandalf here. This was one of my favorites. I did a whole did a whole series of characters. Did Daenerys Targaryen. I did a bunch of Harry Potter characters. So I did Dumbledore, I did McGonagall, I did Snape. All of those are gone. They have all gone to other homes. So. And then I started kind of dabbling in different subject matter. So I did some pieces based on the Zodiac, and I never finished it. Maybe one day I'll finish my Zodiac stuff. All right, let me show you these real fast. Real quick, and we gotta lay this gold leaf. So I started working more with figures and very, fantasy style storytelling work. This is one of my very favorite ones that I did was the Leo and Virgo. So I got all the way through Libra. I did Taurus through Libra, and I have not picked up the rest of them. I will show you more things, but I've got to lay this gold leaf. So I'm going to move you real fast so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe I'll just lean the computer or scoot you closer. Normally when I'm streaming, I have a camera right here that shoots down, so it's way easier to show things when you have an above head camera instead of one here. So I'm going to lay this gold leaf. Ooh, like I said, I can't speak while this is happening because gold leaf will go everywhere. I'm going to get a new sheet. It is very delicate, as you see. I just ripped the side of this. So I'm just smoothing this down to get it to adhere properly to the glue. I am by no means a gold leaf expert. I'm still very much learning gold leaf. Circle looks fairly round. But it's not sticking right there. So I'll lay another piece. Sometimes you have areas that don't want to stick. for whatever reason. If the glue was not dry enough or it was too dry, then it just doesn't like to stick. So you may get little areas like that, and you can go back in and fill those. I often have to. I'm going to leave that for a second, and then we will take the gold leaf off. I'm going to kind of let it set, let them get to know each other, hopefully not rip apart when I take all the gold leaf off. It's very, very exciting. I need this lesson. My best advice for gold leaf is to watch lots of videos on YouTube and then understand that you are not going to be able to do that the first many times that you try. I have used a lot of gold leaf out of this book and still learning. What kind of adhesive did I use? I got this kit. So you can use Mod Podge, I believe, but I have this, it's Mona Lisa, it's made by Speedball kit that I got off of Blick. So it has the gold leaf, the adhesive, and then the sealer all as one kit that you can get together. And then if you don't use up all the adhesive, you can just buy the sheets of gold leaf themselves. So that's what I use. I'm gonna let that set. So I was saying that I started dabbling in more fantasy type work, more storytelling work. I then started doing more landscapes. So I did some Lord of the Rings inspired stuff, Hobbit holes and such. Both of these are prints because the originals also have gone to another home. So here I was really learning watercolor. This is where I started to get very comfortable with watercolor. I've been doing it for probably a year at this point. So that was a nice feeling to finally feel like I had control again over a medium, because I felt very comfortable with oils, and then I just switched and did something different and didn't feel like I had full control over it. So I did some landscapes. I did some architecture. I don't have one of those in my hands right now, but I did some castles and things like that. This is the piece that I feel like was the pinnacle of my watercolors right before I went on maternity leave. So I finished this piece in January, late January of 2020. So a very interesting time in life. Had no idea what was coming around the corner, but I completed this piece, went on maternity leave, had my son at the end of February, and painting has been very sporadic since. So a couple of things that I have done since then. I did a lot of galaxy stuff, experimenting with portraits again, but in kind of a different way. So a negative space portrait in a galaxy was fun. It was a little bit looser, not so high pressure as I was getting used to painting again. And then most recently, I have been painting lots of mushrooms and little landscapes. So I guess I'll show these little landscapes. These very moody, hazy, atmospheric landscapes have been what I did for most of the year. I just painted in a sketchbook. I needed low pressure, just paint for fun. And then I started painting mushrooms, and so I'll show you. I have so many mushrooms. There's just so many of them. Thank you, Kevin. Show the birds. I don't have any of the birds. I think all of my birds are on my website, but I sold all of the birds, so I don't have any with me. I painted little snails and mushrooms, very illustrative, just fun pieces, low pressure, which is what I needed when I'm trying to paint quickly with a 1-year-old running around my feet, wanting to sit with me. So just different styles, different looks. And this is the one that I did most recently, which is what this one's going to match. So this one, you can see the gold leaf on it, which I love. There's something about gold leaf when you twist it and turn it in the light that's just hypnotizing. I love it. So these are also very interesting mushrooms. I've learned a lot about mushrooms here over the last few weeks. You think just, oh, like Mario mushrooms. Like these kind of look like Mario mushrooms. They got the little dots. But I found the most interesting mushrooms like these. I'd never even heard of ink cap mushrooms, but they are really interesting looking. Very fun forms to paint. Okay, let's remove this gold leaf. I have 8 minutes to remove this gold leaf. And then if you have any questions, I will answer them as quickly as possible. Rapid fire. So I'm going to just apply some pressure and get it to pull away where there's not adhesive. Also, I didn't do it, but when you're using adhesive, I should have gone and washed this brush out immediately with soap and water, but it didn't happen, so I'll deal with that later. You can either be like me and have a whole bunch of cheap brushes, like literally dollar store cheapest brushes you can find, and apply adhesive with that and not worry about it. Or you can wash your brushes out like you should. Like I should. Right, so I want to be careful around the edges because I don't want to accidentally pull the leaf away from the adhesive. Like I said, the adhesive can be very fickle. You see it flaring everywhere because I'm talking. You have to get it at just the right stickiness. So if it's still too liquid, the gold leaf will just kind of spread everywhere and go all over the place, and you won't get clean edges. And if you wait too long, it won't be sticky enough and your gold leaf will not adhere. It is like magic. It's so fun. This is the best part. It's nerve-wracking because you don't know how well it's going to stick and if your edges got messed up or if the details are still held in place, but it's also really fun. It's like when you take the tape off of the edges, when you've taped off your edges of a painting and you get to peel that edge and you get that crisp line. Ugh, so satisfying. All right, so I can see this edge. I may have to go back in and touch up some areas. That is okay. Any areas that lost detail, you can always go in with a razor blade and delicately, very, very delicately, scratch the gold leaf up. The fun thing about gold leaf is that it can go on pretty much any surface. So even this sealer that I got, which is a pretty cheap sealer, it's not anything special. I didn't want to get a super expensive kit with this is imitation gold, so it's not actual gold, which you can get and one day I would love to work with, but I wanted to be very confident in my abilities to use it before spending that kind of money on it. But even this very inexpensive set, you can adhere to pretty much anything. Canvases, paper, furniture, whatever. Oh no. See, like that, I messed myself up. So I'm gonna lay a piece right there and let that marinate. But that's the general idea. There's gonna be little gaps in it that I'll go back in and fill. Some of them I won't worry too much about. There's something nice about the imperfection of it. And I will, these last minutes, pull you off of your perch. Can you reuse the excess leaf, or is it dead now? You can reuse it. So I have a jar of extra gold leaf, and I use all of these little pieces. There's actually a really nice texture to it when you use crumbled up pieces instead of a full sheet. I know artists, you can buy it in that crumbled state already because it just gives a different texture. So I know artists who prefer that texture, and that's all they use is that crumbled leaf, but you can get the sheets and just use all the extras, and I will. I'll scoop up all these extras. Any big pieces like this, I will lay back on the paper and smooth out as best I can. And all the little tiny pieces will go in here to be reused for a different project. Yes, let me pull you off of your perch and show you. Do that as smoothly as possible. I know where's the flip. Oh, you're getting behind the scenes. Give you a view of what we're working on. So all these little areas in here are see-through. So I do need to go in there with gold leaf and do those tiny little pieces, but I'm going to do that when I'm not distracted so that I am very, very careful to hit all of those tiny pieces. But, whoop, here we go. So yeah, with the last couple minutes that we have, I guess I'll just hold the camera, just get real cozy. The last couple minutes, if there's any questions that you have, feel free to ask them. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. This was really fun. I'll knock the rest of this off. I've enjoyed gold leaf. I think it literally adds some sparkle and shine. But just a very alive element to a drawing. Love it. Thank you. Ooh, I'm making you fall. Well, thank you all so much. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a very nice Saturday. Yes, it's a cool process. Even if you don't use it, I would recommend watching videos on YouTube of it because people who are good with gold leaf, it is so neat to watch the whole process. But all right. Well, thank you all again. I hope you have a great Saturday and a great weekend. This was a lot of fun. I'll see you guys later, I hope. Now I have to figure out how to end the live because I've never done it.